welcome everyone to how to apply for the SARTAC Fellowship. Go ahead. My name is Teresa Moore. I am the SARTAC Project Director. We also have on the line Vicki Turnage, the SARTAC Project Co-Director. I want to say hello, Vicki, so they know your voice.
Hello again.
Thank you, Vicki. And Danielle Underwood, who is the SARTAC Fellowship Coordinator.
Hello, everyone.
And Alex, who is assisting in the background. Not sure we'll get to hear his voice right away, but he will join us.
I'm online.
Oh, good. This is Alex. And he will be helping us with technical support. Go ahead. Just in case you are new to SARTAC and have wondered what all of those letters mean and have seen them but have forgotten them, it's the Self-Advocacy Resource and Technical Assistance Center, SARTAC. It is an AIDD-funded project of national significance. The National Resource Center supports self-advocacy organizations across the country by providing quality resource and direct assistance to groups. Next slide. Our website, if you are not familiar with it, the website address is Self-Advocacy, all spelled out, info.org, selfadvocacyinfo.org. And this is a snapshot of the homepage, so you know you have the right location. And we would love for you to check out the Fellows page, and you can learn about the different projects that we funded last year and the projects that we're currently funding for this year. And that'll give you some ideas about what you can write about. Are you ready to take over, Danielle, and show folks a little bit more information?
Yes, I would love to.
Hi, can I ask a quick question?
Sure, go ahead.
Hi, I'm here with an individual who's interested in applying for the SARTAC Fellowship. We had a little bit of issue logging on, so we've just joined the call. Is there anything that we've missed up to this point that is vital for us to go back and check out? I apologize.
No problem. We had some technical difficulties, and we're very glad that that's been resolved and that you were able to join us. The only things you may need to know, if you would like to view closed captioning of this webinar, you will need to click on the arrow next to Multimedia Viewer in the lower right-hand corner of your screen. And other than that, we will be taking questions at the end of the presentation. So if you can just go ahead and mute yourself for now. You can use your raise your hand function next to your name. You'll see a little hand, and you can click on that if you have a question that you're going to want to ask toward the end. Or you can type it into the chat box and send it to us that way. And Alex will be keeping track of all the questions coming in so that we can get to those at the end of the presentation.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Okay, so today we're going to be talking about two materials that we have online right now available for you all. This has all of the information you need to apply for the SARTAC Fellowship. On the left side, you see the online submission form, and the URL is at the bottom of the screen there. This presentation will be posted online, and this link is also available on the website that Teresa just showed you a moment ago. Just to go back again in case anybody wants to write it down, selfadvocacyinfo.org is the SARTAC website. So the link to the online submission form is there on the Fellows page, and on the right side is a graphic of the information packet that is also available on the website. It has the same information, exact same information on both of those. The online submission form is the one you will get into when you're ready to actually apply. The information packet on the right side is just something to help you think about it ahead of time and maybe come up with your idea and talk about it, the fellow and the host together. So those are both available, and that's the information we're going to be going through today. So about the fellowship, this will give you the quick version of all the information in those two places. The SARTAC Fellowship is a one-year project. It starts March 1st and goes a full calendar year. It is designed by a self-advocate and done with a host partner. And a SARTAC Fellowship, a good way to think about it is that it's a research project that works a way to help solve problems that many self-advocates have. The SARTAC Fellowship focuses on policy and leadership topics. So with this, we really want you to think bigger. So this is a national project. We will have people across the country doing these different projects. And where you might think, the first thought you might have would be something that you would do on a community level, at your local level, in your own town or city or state. And while those are good ideas, we really want you to think bigger with this and how this project that you might do could help someone in a totally different state, another region of the country, to do something similar where they are. The SARTAC Fellowship pays $5,000 to the fellow. I already mentioned that it starts on March 1st. It needs to end with a report or product that other people can use so they can learn about your project idea and do something like it in their own area. And those reports, the products are posted on the SARTAC website so that we can let people across the country know about them, and so that a lot of people will be able to read what you write, or they will be able to view videos that you make, just a way to get the word out there about what you have done. So who can be a fellow? There are a few rules about who can be a fellow. First of all, the person must have an intellectual or developmental disability. They need to have been a leader in a group for at least 3 years. It doesn't necessarily have to have all been in one group, but it's important that you are maybe not a brand new leader, that you've at least gotten a little bit of leadership experience. It could be an elected role, like maybe an officer in a state self-advocacy organization, or it could be something that's not elected, but it is something like starting a new group or chairing a big event or doing some kind of community changes, working on policy, maybe with local leaders, or working on a community board of some kind. So it's important that the fellow has had a little bit of leadership experience. The fellow cannot work for the host, either now or in the past. So if the person is already an employee, they cannot work with that group as their host. A fellow must be able to share ideas by writing or typing, and the host can be a support in that. We have had some different hosts that the fellow and the host agreed that they would work together on what a report might say, but that the host might actually do the typing. But they need to be able to communicate their ideas. And all of our reporting is done through online forms. So that's another piece that some of our hosts have helped to support the fellows in. All of our fellows join monthly calls where we meet together as a group, and it's something similar to what we're doing now, except we all take turns. All the fellows update their fellow fellows, as we like to call them, on where they are in their projects and kind of what they're working on right now. And the SARTAC leaders are on those same calls with them. And this is something that's kind of a special, for this class. This class of fellows will be presenting their projects at the Self-Advocacy Becoming Empowered, or SABE, National Self-Advocacy in Denver, Colorado in October 2020. And that's a pretty big deal. Our first class of fellows was able to do that this past summer in Birmingham when we had over, I'm trying to remember, Vicki, if it was close to 1,000 people attended that conference. And they had this really cool privilege of being able to get up and talk about their own projects and show the products that they had created through those. So that's going to be an important piece. The cost to attend that conference is, while we're asking for the fellows to do this, there will not be extra money available to pay for that cost. So it can come from the fellow. Some of the hosts, we hope, will be helping to support the fellow to attend. And if needed, they can take it from their $5,000 that is used to help support their projects. So the next question is, what is a host? A host is really, the best way to look at it is that the host is the fellow's partner. They are there, and the fellow and the host agree together what the host will do to help support them to be successful. And it's different for every host and fellow pair we have. Some of the ideas or examples we can give you to help you understand what a host might do are that they can help set goals and timelines. So, like helping stay on track with the project. The host might assist planning project actions. So, like, say the fellow wants to do an event where they bring together legislators. Well, the host might help plan that with the fellow so that goes really well. They might help with research. So looking for different information in different places, the host can be a great partner with the fellow in doing that type of thing. Or also, like I mentioned before, typing materials and reports, including those online forms. Some other things to note, that a host may also help provide an office space to work in. So if the fellow does not have access to a computer and is working on some of those computer skills, some of our hosts have an office space that the fellow can use to come and work in. Also, if the fellow needs access to video equipment or camera equipment, things like that, a lot of times a host might offer to help the fellow in that way. And then, like I mentioned, I guess I already mentioned this about some of the hosts help the fellow to go to the National Self-Advocacy Conference. And we've had quite a few hosts go along with the fellow for that presentation to be able to be there as they get this spotlight, this really exciting moment to be able to present their project. Many of our hosts have wanted to be there for that. So hosts offer full support of the fellows' project to ensure their success. Hosts and fellows are both really important in this. And a host, I would say, is the most important partner. SARTAC is here. Our SARTAC leadership team does help with mentoring and just assisting in different ways. but really the key partner is the host. And one other thing to know is that the host also confirms that the fellow has met the goals that they set before they are paid by SARTAC. It's just kind of our way of keeping everybody on the same page, making sure that everyone understands what's happening with the project. So a few other things to know. Fellows and hosts must work together to agree on the project goals, timeline, and end products. They work together to decide who will do what. So what part the fellow will do independently and what support the host will give. And they work together to submit that proposal to SARTAC. And at the end of that online form, there's a place for both the fellow and the host to sign, because it's important that that partnership is set before we ever review the project idea. So something that we want to make sure we emphasize is that we make a strong point about this, that the fellows should be building work skills through this project that may lead to jobs in the future. I mean, they're doing high-level project work where they're building a lot of skills about planning and goals and submitting reports and making products. So we're hoping that host organizations are going to find the fellows' work so valuable that they will want to hire them by the end of these projects. We also understand that that's not always possible, but where it's not possible, that hosts can be great references for fellows afterwards, because the host knows the strengths that that fellow has developed through this project. So as they go on to look for paid positions in other places, hosts can be important people to be able to speak on their behalf and explain what they can do. Okay, so now I'm going to switch over to how to use the online form. And if you can give me just a moment here, I'm going to share another screen with you. So I've taken you, are you all able to see the SARTAC logo on the web page?
Answer the question, yes or no.
I think you should be able to see.
It shows the front page.
Great. Okay. So this is our SARTAC, the self-advocacy.org/2018-2019 fellowship application. Let's see. Okay. So if we go down this page, the way that we got to this, let's see, Alex, I think you might have taken control of my screen.
Oh, what did I do? Let's see here. Can you? Oh, you're not the presenter?
Okay.
Okay.
All right, hold on a second.
Okay.
Okay, here we go. I've got it back.
Good.
Okay,
Excellent.
so what I've opened up here is the Fellows page. So when you go onto the SARTAC website, I think I'm just going to go ahead and show you. This is our homepage right here, self-advocacyinfo.org. And if you scroll down, you'll see a page here that says 2019-2020 fellowships. And if you click on that, it takes you to our fellowship application page. This will take you to all the information that we're discussing today. It gives you some ideas about what the fellowship is, when the deadline is, which we will be talking about later on in this. And also it says, want to apply, fill out the online application form. That is your link right there to be able to go to the form, which looks like this. Actually, here, I will. Okay, so if you go to this form, there are, the first page gives you all the information that I just went through with you. And then after that, you click on a box that says to continue, and it will take you to this, where you say proposed fellowship project information. So you will, it says right here, host and fellow should complete this form together. Host and fellow must agree on a project that will help both parties. And you can click on OK, and it takes you to the title of the project. So you can type directly into this box, leadership project. Now, say I have a lot of information and it doesn't fit all here. I want to be able to see more of it. There is a little corner down here on the bottom right that if I click on it and drag it, I can pull this and make it bigger so I can see more words. So that is one way to do this. You can just type straight in, and when I'm done with the title of the project, I just click OK, and it takes me to the next box where it tells me to describe the topic. And you can do the same thing. Leadership tools. Now you're going to want to put a lot of information in this so that someone who is reading will have a whole panel of people who are reading and grading each one of these project proposals. And if you give us plenty of information to know what you're talking about, it will be easier for us to know if this is the type of project we want to go ahead and
I hear it. Okay. All right. Well, do that. I'm pulling up the nursing home. I thought I'd just get you real quickly. You listen so you'll know what to tell them, okay?
All right.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
Okay. Alex, are you able to mute that for us? Thank you. You can always go back up and look at what you put in an earlier box. And you can go ahead and go down all the way to the bottom if you want to scroll. One thing to know is you really don't want to leave any boxes blank. If you leave boxes blank, then you're going to be losing points. So I would strongly recommend that you fill in information on each one of these questions to help us as we're measuring. And when you're done with the first page, you click on Go to the next step. And there is more information to enter. So one thing I do want to make sure I show you is that you can, if you want to use the information packet that is also available on this page where it says, learn all the details of the SARTAC Fellowship by reading this first. And it says SARTAC Fellowship Information and Preparation Packet. If you click on that, it will show you another document that's a Word document. And you can use that. Let's see here if I can. Let's see. Essentially what you can do is you can copy and paste information into that form that we were just looking at. So if you would copy and paste information, let me do that.
Excuse me. We just, this is Julian. We just got kicked off of the webinar version and we're trying to get back in to be able to see what.
But it's saying that it's locked.
and we've even put in like the participant code again. We were just watching it, and then it said the host kicked you off, and there's no way to view what you guys are, the visuals.
Yeah.
Right?
Hi, Danielle. Real quick, click on meeting on the WebEx presentation where you are. Click on meeting, and then on the drop down there is a lock and unlock. Does it say?
Hold on a second.
Option to unlock.
I don't know what's happened.
Yeah, on your menu bar. Are you in the meeting?
I am trying to get back in. Okay. So where it says meeting?
And then the last option, it's I think it's that's where it's getting locked.
Well, it's grayed. It is grayed out for me. For some reason, it's not giving it to me as a live option.
Okay.
Are you able to? Am I able to hand over anything to you?
Yeah, let me see if I can log in as you again, because that's where I found it earlier. So I think there is waiting for others to join. Okay. Yeah, that's where it's getting it keeps getting locked.
Yeah.
Okay. I logged in as you, and it's good. It's unlocked.
Okay.
So something is triggering that. Yeah. Okay, I think we're good now. So let's see if anyone can get back on.
Apologies to everyone. Sorry. Sometimes computers are our friends, and sometimes they are not very helpful. So our apologies if you have had issues. Were you able to rejoin?
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you. Okay, so I'm going to try to not go back and forth between too many things here because I'm worried that might be causing some of the issues. But I was able to show you the online form, and in case you were kicked off beforehand, one word of advice I would give you is to make sure you answer every question on that form so that your idea, your proposal, does not lose any points for not including information when we ask for it. So one other thing I wanted to make sure, two other things. At the end of the online form I was just showing you, it's very important that you press the submit button at the end. There is a place on there that you can click on a box that says, please send me a copy of my proposal. And when you do that, you need to allow me a few days because I don't check it every single day because we'll be getting in a bunch on some days and maybe one or two on another day. So every few days I check and I will get the different proposals and make sure I save them. And if you want me to email it back to you so you have a copy of it, I'm happy to do that. So just make sure you check the box at the end that says, please email me a copy. So, and before we go forward, it is another word of advice for you. It's really important for you to go, like Teresa had mentioned, onto that Fellows page, which is here on the right side where you see the pictures of our different fellows in the two classes that we've had so far. To go in and read about their projects, and that will give you a much better idea of the type of things we're looking for in these project ideas. But I also would say that we love hearing new, fresh ideas. So if you can get an idea about the type of project we like to fund, but then you can also see where there might be a place to be creative and come up with new, fresh ideas. Because that's really what we're looking for, is to be able to help self-advocates across the country in lots of different ways. With lots of different types of projects.
I told Iceberg is like a filler. There's like nothing to it. My mom.
Okay. So we're having a lot of background noise. Thank you, Alex. Okay, so our deadline to submit is December 20th at 5 p.m. Pacific time. So you have a little bit less than a month to come up with your project idea. and submit it through that link on the SARTAC website. We are going to go ahead and go to questions. And let's see. If we have Vicki, we're going to go ahead and have you help kind of guide us through this portion. And
hello everyone. Again, we want to apologize for some of the technical difficulties that we've had. I'm going to open it up for questions. You can either enter it into the chat box or you can raise your hand and we can recognize you. If anybody that has their hand raised.
Oh, Vicky.
Yes, who is this?
Hey, Vicky.
Yes, hello. Is this David Taylor?
Yeah.
Hello, I recognize your name. If everybody could tell you, kind of identify themselves when they speak, and also say what state you're from.
Want me to go first?
Yes, you can go first. Go right ahead, David.
David Taylor, North Carolina.
So that's David Taylor from North Carolina. And what was your question, David?
My question is, I'm trying to get on the web, the site on my phone.
So you've been trying to get on the webinar through your phone?
Yeah. It's just giving me an email. I'm trying to put a different email in and it came through.
And you're trying to put your email in?
Yeah.
And it doesn't want to take it?
It was taken, but it won't. I need a nickname to the webinar.
What we may have to do, David, is this is being recorded, and as well as we'll be putting the slides up as part of that recording. So maybe you can reference it there after the call, and obviously, I mean, you can also call Danielle or Teresa or I, and we can answer whatever questions you might have. I know that the phone works a little funny because I tried that during when we checked, when we did a rehearsal the other day, and the phone does some strange things when you try to connect with it. So let's, if we could do that, since we can talk to you later and maybe go over some of the things you might need to know, or send you the PowerPoint. Did that answer your question, David? I'm sorry I wasn't much help.
Yeah.
Okay.
Excuse me. I would like to ask a question.
Okay, let me take a question from the chat box real quick, and because I do see that we had one that came in a little bit earlier. Okay. We had a question from, I believe it was John McCartney, if I got that correct. And John wanted to know, can the host be a for-profit company that works in the disability arena? At this point, there's no reason that can't be the case, John. We certainly would entertain application from a self-advocate that was partnering with a for-profit company.
Okay. My name is Julian, and I'm from Colorado, and my question was, can a host have two different fellows doing two separate projects, working together, use that same space and host?
So could a host submit two applications for two fellows? Is that your question?
Yes.
Yes, there's nothing that prevents a host for doing that. It just would really depend on the quality of the proposals that we're getting as to whether both of them would be accepted. Now, if you're also asking, can two self-advocates share a fellowship, that would not be acceptable. But if we had two applications from one host with two different fellows, they would be accepted and considered.
I wanted to say something 18, but
yes, is this Emily speaking?
Yes, hi, I'm doing it on my computer, but I've never used the microphone before, so I didn't know if it worked or not. I had a question regarding the payment of the $5,000. I'm on SSI, and I was just wondering, how that payment is distributed, and how it would affect, my benefits as far as the host. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yes, Emily, it does, and we would work with you and your host to address those issues, to distribute it in a fashion that would make it, so it would make that you would not lose your SSI.
Okay,
$5,000 is really, it was not going to lose it anyway, depending on, because you would not get it all in one lump sum. So.
Okay.
Vicki, may I add to that? This is Danielle. May I add to that?
Yes, go right ahead, Danielle.
Okay. Yeah, hi. I just wanted to let you know the way that we have done that this year is to give the fellow complete control over when and how much they want to receive at one time. So the way that we have some basic rules about how we do it, that they can't get more than half of the $5,000 before they've reached the halfway mark, and they can't get the last $500 until they've completed everything and turned in all their products and their final report. But other than that, the fellow and the host can decide together, and they submit an invoice to me every time they want to get a new check sent to them to help support the project. So the way we've done that, since everyone has different situations with their benefits and the amount of income they may already have or not have, we've let the fellow decide when they want to get the funding. Does that help a little bit more?
That helps a lot, actually. Thank you so much.
You bet. Absolutely.
Hi.
Thank you, Danielle. Let me go just really to the chat box to take one more question before I take your question, the person who was just speaking. I understand we have a question, Savannah, regarding the conference. You may use, if you're a fellow and selected, some of the money that you receive can be used to pay for your participation at the conference. Everybody who participates in the conference does have to pay a registration, although there may be, at some point, depending on how the Self-Advocacy organization in Colorado handles their fundraising, there may be some stipends available. Now, who was the next person who wanted to speak?
Hi, I am Kevin.
Hello, Kevin. This is
I'm a currently funded person. I'm currently funded.
So Kevin is a current fellow.
I went to a conference this year.
That's right, you
got
did.
the things out of it. And it's been great.
It was great. Is that what you said, Kevin?
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. We have another question from John McCarty asking about the application and about the details that's involved in describing the application. You will need to be detailed. Obviously, you know, we're not asking for someone to, you know, write submit a project proposal that is, you know, multiple pages, because it's only a $5,000 project. But yes, you do need to be detailed, and you would put that in the application.
Also,
go ahead. Sorry, you want to go ahead and respond to that too in a little more detail, Danielle?
Yeah, if I could, because I think I may have. I don't want to make. I want to make. Don't confuse anyone. So we don't give more points for more details. What I was trying to explain was that if we have blank boxes, then you may lose points because we don't know how to answer as we're measuring different things about your project idea. If we have full blank boxes, then we can't give points for things. So more details doesn't necessarily mean more points. I also want to make sure the second part of your question, where you say, can the project change some as the details change? Yes, they can. A project can change to some extent, but we will need you to keep us informed about any changes you might need to make. Teresa, do you want to add anything to that? I know that that's something you've been involved with.
You know, sometimes when you're talking about different products that you want to create, for example, you plan a video and it ends up needing to be several videos, things like that, or you planned on doing a toolkit and several handouts, and it turns out that that doesn't all come together exactly the way you thought it would towards the middle or end of your project. You just have to let us know so that we can adjust what we're expecting. And sometimes, most of the time, self-advocates have more difficulty knowing when to stop recording and start working on the final products, and I usually help with that. We have many conference calls with teams, and then I also will meet with each team during the process to make sure that you have any questions that come up for you answered during the process, so that you can make adjustments or tell me that something new and incredible happened and you want to now include that instead of something else. That is also doable, as long as we know about it as it's happening and not at the end.
Hello, it's Emily again. I had one more question.
Go right ahead, Emily.
The host I'm considering working with, I currently volunteer with, but I'm not getting paid for it. Can I still apply with that host?
Well, at this point, you know, we like to encourage fellows to not have worked with a host before, but if you're volunteering, I think that might be we have considered fellows' applications in the past who have their relationship with the host has been a volunteer.
Okay. Thank you.
Teresa, Danielle, do you want to add anything to that?
It may actually help you, depending on how in depth you want to go with your project. If it's a very detailed project, it might help you to know what they're currently working on to help connect it to something that you've been wishing you saw that organization do or try, and because you know them, it makes it easier for you to talk to them about it, but it does not discourage you from trying to make new relationships with a place that you would like to work eventually, too.
Okay. Thank you. I'll take that into consideration.
Okay.
We also had a question from Gregory, and that I'm not sure I understand what your question is. Are you asking is there someone that can help you with the application? Gregory, do you want to expound on your question, or want to write any more about your question in the chat box? And I will just say we are available to answer questions if you need additional, assistance. One of the reasons that we encourage the fellow and potential fellow and the host to work together is so they can work on the application together. We also had a question from Luke about the limits to the changes. As Teresa said, that we, can work with you if your application is accepted, and there are some minor changes. We would not expect, a significant change in the project, but there can obviously be some changes after the, the fellowship has been awarded.
Hello, this is Julian again. I had a question, referring to the SAVE conference in 2020. With me and my Self-Advocacy statewide organization helping putting on the Self-Advocacy conference, how will we find out who's going to be selected and who ends up presenting and that kind of thing?
Well, the fellowships are going to be awarded. As I said, they'll be. I'm sorry. Was that somebody? Teresa, was that you?
Sorry, I can answer that if you'd like.
Okay, go right ahead, Danielle.
Sure. Yes, that's a great question. Thank you for asking that, because I did not put that in this presentation, and it's a very important question. So the due date for applying is December the 20th. We will start reviewing the applications in the beginning of January and take most of that month to get through all of the applications that get turned in. So we will be letting everyone know whether or not their application was accepted in the middle of February, no later than February 15th. And everyone will get an email back just letting them know what happened with their application. Does that answer your question, Julian?
Not exactly.
Julian, I also heard you asking who will present at the conference. All fellows will be able to present at the conference. The last conference, we had panel discussions where three fellows presented in one panel and the other three in the second panel. So if you're chosen, you would present at the conference.
But I'm saying, because our statewide self-advocacy group is helping to put on the conference, I'm just trying to figure out how will we find out so we can put those into the schedule. That's why I'm sort of morally asking.
We will work with you. We've been working with Vicki and Heidi over there, and the SARTAC team will be working very closely with y'all in putting together the program, since SARTAC will be a major sponsor of the of the conference as they were
cool.
this year. Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much what I was just curious how that would work.
Teresa, there's a question from Luke again. What is a major change versus a minor changes? And what changes aren't allowed? Do you want to address that in terms of if a fellowship, if a project is accepted?
For example, the fellow can't change, the host can't change, those you cannot change. But the things that, and the general idea of the project cannot change. If you say that you're going to work with policymakers, then you need to be working with policymakers throughout your project if that's what your project is. But if you say that you're going to do a toolkit and some videos and some handouts and some PowerPoints, and it ends up that you only have videos and a toolkit, the PowerPoints, we can probably work with letting that go. Things like that. So the products themselves can change. It's the most common change that happens is that people change how they want to have the final product presented. But the overall project itself does not change. If you say that that's what you're going to do, then you still need to stick with the topic, because that's why you were selected, is most likely how you said you were going to work on the topic. But in general, it's usually some of the products change a little bit at the end, towards the end. And so that I can work with you on.
We have another question in the chat box. Can you work with two hosts on a single project? I have two hosts in mind for the project that I am considering. If I choose a main host, can I still work with the other organization as a secondary host? Teresa, would you like to respond to that one?
What we usually need is that there is a host that signs on with the project overall that's going to help you with your day-to-day activities and to make sure that, you know, things get done and turned in. They're going to be the primary host. But we encourage you to definitely partner with several groups to help you get the work done, to help you stay the most informed person about the topic that you're working on. If that other group is that group, then you can definitely work with several partners to help you get it done. But we do need an identifiable host that is the primary person or place that you get your support from, so that we can know who, you know, to contact if if we have questions. They need to be well informed about what you're doing and any issues or problems that you're having. Does that help?
All right, then. Okay. The question is, again, does the application include a space for additional partners? Danielle, where would you suggest that they list the additional partners?
You know, I think it does not include a space for additional partners because we have not had that question come up before. And like Teresa was saying, I think as long as we have the main partner listed, the main host, that you can have your additional partnerships with other hosts on your own, and you can ask us to include them later in the communication that we do. If you would like them to be involved on the monthly calls, we can certainly include them. But there's just the one space for one host. So the host itself does not help or hurt your your project proposal. It's just we just know that you have a good that you've worked out a situation with a host and what that host can provide. Now, if you want to put in some extra information in that box where it says what will the host provide the fellow, you could put in some notes there about working with your extra partner and what that host would provide for you.
Thank you, Danielle. Does anybody else have any other questions? There doesn't appear to be any other questions in the chat box.
John had a follow-up. He said, do I make it a formal thing with the other? I would say that's really up to you. It doesn't have to be formal. It can just be informal. But we need to have one formal host. So that part is important.
We have another question from Luke that wants to know what time, date are the monthly calls? Are they the same date and time every month, as some people are probably working, going to school? They are set dates during the month and set times. Danielle, Teresa, did you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, this is Danielle. I would just say the way we did it this year was at the very beginning, we asked all the fellows and the hosts, we gave different options about what would work best. Like I think we picked out, the third Monday of the month at a certain time. So we found the one that worked for everyone, and then we just set out all of our scheduled calls for the year so that everyone could put them in their calendars. So we're flexible, and we also understand that, our last call, one of our fellows was not able to be on it because of some circumstances happening for him, and we're flexible. But we do want to make sure that all the fellows can be on for most of the calls. We work to find a time that works for everyone. Great question. Thank you for asking it, by the way.
I have a question. This is Julian. Follow up to that. Is there a percentage of calls that fellow/host has to be on to consider full participation to get the 5,000?
We've never had that be a problem, Julian. Everyone wants to be on because the fellows really like having that time to stay connected to each other and to hear what's happening with each of the other projects. So, we've had almost every call, we've had every fellow on. So, and the one this past time who could not be on, it was because of the wildfires happening in California because, natural disasters. So that just tells you everybody really wants to be a part of those calls. So we have not had to...
they become their own family because they all end up really becoming close because they're supporting each other through some struggles, learning how to manage time, how to work through issues, the project, and they learn a lot from each other.
And another thing I would add too, the fellows who are active in their projects right now were able to be announced at the national conference this last time, and I think I wanted to mention to you all just I was so impressed by how excited they were to be able to have their names and their projects announced in front of a room full of 800 people, and just what a huge moment that was for them, what a huge honor it was for them to be able to be a SARTAC fellow. So it's a pretty cool opportunity for next year. We're excited to talk about your project.
All right. Did that answer your question, Luke? Do we have any other questions? All right. It doesn't appear there are any additional questions. Teresa, Danielle, do you have any additional comments?
The only thing I would say, I have posted my email. This is Danielle, and I posted my email address on the last slide there, so everyone can get the email address. I also posted my my office number in the chat section, so that if you want to call and leave me a message, both of those pieces of information are on the SARTAC website, on the Fellows page, and they're also on the online form and on that information packet. So we've tried to give you that important information in a lot of different places, so it won't be hard to find. But you please feel free to reach out and ask further questions if they come up later. We're very happy to answer.
We do have one more question. Can we make an app? This one I understand. I'm sorry, it didn't quite hit me a while ago what you're asking. You're asking if we can create an app for the application. Is that correct, Gregory?
Or is it that if he could create an app for a project, maybe?
App for the project.
What he responds.
App for the project is what I heard. Yes.
App for the project. Yeah.
Yes, definitely would consider an application for making an app for self-advocates to use. Just be very detailed in what you want it to do and how it would help people. Help people and self-advocacy groups. Because it must be something that helps, as many people as possible and would serve a purpose of some major issue or something that self-advocates need.
I didn't think my mic was working though.
All right. If there are no additional questions, I think you covered this, but can you just confirm about the leadership?
It needs to be a self-advocate and host organization that they work together on putting the project together, and that the self-advocate is doing and learning primary activities of everything, and that the host can help them be successful in the project and help with paperwork and things like that, such as getting paid and those kinds of things.
And it's also, I think what he's asking also is, can the leadership be considered a leadership role in different organizations? That's correct.
Yes.
Doesn't have to be all in the same organization.
Correct. Yes. We have a variety of people that apply all the time, and you can be involved in as many groups as you want. But we prefer that you have some kind of leadership activity or role that you've learned as part of that, because carrying a project through a whole year does require a lot of responsibility.
Again, do we have any additional questions? If not, we will be posting the webinar to the SARTAC website, as well as be posting it to our Facebook page, so that if you want to go and review the webinar again, that it will be available. It will be. You want to address time frames for the availability, Danielle, of the webinar?
Yeah, my best guesstimate is it will probably take us about a week to get it changed over in format and ready to be up on the web. So probably 4 to 7 days, like actual days from now. Also, if you want to, last year's call is still archived on the web page, on the website. So you could also go and listen to that last year's call that was similar to this one. It is archived on the website. If you go to selfadvocacyinfo.org/fellows.
So, Luke, are you asking, can it be on ARC? Are you asking, can the host organization be an ARC? And if that's the question you're asking, yes, it could be an ARC. On the application, do we insert examples of PowerPoints we have done? Danielle, do you want to address that one?
No, we do not have a way for you to insert files. It is just, we're most interested in what you're wanting to do in the future. And you can, if you want to tell us about presentations that you have done, there is a place where we do ask that. So you'll want to make sure that you talk about presentations you've given in the past. And you can also mention that you have created PowerPoint. I'm going to put the URL where it is archived on the web in the chat box.
And while Danielle's doing that, is there any last questions that anybody would like to ask? Well, if not, we would certainly like to thank you, and we look forward to learning about your project. And we do hope that you talk to if you have any friends out there that might be interested, please send them to the website to the webinar that are also applying. Teresa, do you have any closing remarks?
Just be creative and try to think about the things that you think are missing from what you have available to you and that you would like to create with someone's help, and who that might be that is that creative organization that you have an interest in working with maybe someday, or that you have volunteered with in the past and would like to work again on a project. Just be really creative.
Danielle, any closing statements?
No, I just wanted to say thank you so much for joining us today. We're really glad that you were with us for this walkthrough and hope that it was helpful. And again, please feel free to email me or call if you need more help on any of these things.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much. We're going to end the webinar now.